here we go for the final time. We are free! Oh, they make contact! A terrible crash! And good evening, everybody, and welcome here to race number 9 of Season 10, the final season of the NNSCRA Snickers Cup Series. We are back restrictor plate racing under the lights here tonight at Talladega Super Speedway. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Hope you are ready for a track that can hold them 3 and 4 wide at over 200 miles per hour, because that's exactly what we have scheduled here tonight. And the thing that I love about restrictor plates, whether it be Daytona, whether it be here at Talladega, and a couple of other restrictor plate tracks that will be on the schedule as well, including M&M's and Coca-Cola, is those types of tracks, they always seem to cater to the underdog, whether it be a rookie in the series or a driver that's struggling in points, really needs a victory. Talladega is the one opportunity for every driver in this field to know that they are on an equal playing field with every other driver they're competing against, and they have a shot at the win at this track. Now, Trent Dunham won the last time we were at a restrictor plate track, taking the Daytona 500. Who's going to find victory lane here in this one? Stephen Pollard III starts on the pole position. Talk about a guy that is struggling in points outside the top 35 in the standings. Really could use a victory, because remember, even if he wins, he's got to work his way also into the top 30 in the point stands in order to be chase eligible. So, Stephen Pollard III, the first step he really could use would be a victory here tonight. Alongside of him, rookie Austin Mongold. Now, Mongold has actually been on a good streak of finishes lately, but last week was not a good finish for him at Pocono. He dropped to 16th in the standings. So Austin Mongold looking for a bit of a regroup as he looks for his first Snickers Cup Series victory. Charles Sanford, he's running pretty well in the points days, 9th in the standings, even though it's been a bit of a slide for him since Bristol. But he starts 3rd. Sanford looking for his first win of the season. And alongside of him, Zach Buchanan. Now, there's a driver that's really been good in the last couple of weeks. Buchanan's worked his way up to 26th in points. A driver who was in danger of falling outside the top 35 in the standings a couple of weeks ago. He's looking for his first win of the season as he lines up in the 4th position. And the top 5 completed by former winner of the season, Jessica Shelton. Now, she won on fuel strategy at Watkins Glen. Can she win here at Talladega Super Speedway, a track where she is a former winner of as well? That win came all the way back in Season 8. But enough talk, it's time to get these cars rolling off, as we are going to focus on Stephen Pollard III here. And we're about to get those most famous words in motorsports. Let's go down trackside. He got his very first Snickers Cup Series victory at this very track. He's actually the defending winner coming into this race, too, after winning last week at Pocono. Welcome, the driver of the number 23 Mitsubishi Lancer, Brandon Gonzalez, as he gives us those most famous words in motorsports. So as these 42 cars exit pit road, one thing about Talladega Super Speedway as opposed to Daytona is, as you notice, they cross the start-finish line after pit road. Where the start-finish line is positioned on Talladega has brought about many photo finishes, not just between 2 drivers, but sometimes between 3 or even 4 drivers. The start-finish line is after the tri-oval here at Talladega, which gives drivers a lot more time out of 4 to be able to work against their opponent and try and make a move for the potential victory. At Daytona, they've only got from turn 4 to the middle of the tri-oval, and even there, Daytona doesn't really have as much maneuver space as Talladega's front straightaway does. So Talladega is definitely a very difficult place to do defensive driving, but these drivers are going to have to learn that during the course of this 30-lap race, at least up to lap 30 on the white flag, in order to end up pulling it off and taking this victory here tonight. The points coming into this race, Trent Dunham is back atop the standings after taking it over from Joshua Collard last week at Pocono. He leads Collard by only 2 points. Dylan Poteet is 12 points back in third. Dougie Shears is now up to fourth, 16 back. And John Cittadino has now cracked the top 5. He's 23 points out, but still looking for his first win of the season. Same for Joshua Michaels. He's 6th in the standings. He has a total of 29 out, and then you got Michael Norman, Seth Cole, Charles Samper, and Austin LaPlante. That is your top 10. Brandon Gonzalez's win last week moved him up to 11th in the point standings, as we are about ready to go green here at Talladega Superspeedway. A little bit of a blinding light there as the lights are beaming down on this 2.66-mile racetrack, and here we go! Talladega Superspeedway, and the Snickers Cup Series is green. One thing I got to mention about Talladega, too, is these drivers have got to get pretty familiar with this, because some drivers that, quotes, are locked into the chase with wins this season, they'll be coming back here, and this is going to be a track that they'll have to meet up with in the chase schedule. This is the next to last race before the season finale, so as you see, Retro Racing Enterprises working to the inside. Charles Samper with teammate Jessica Shelton. I don't remember how many times I've seen Jessica Shelton push a teammate to the victory here at this track. As, wow, you can see the outside line got the run there. Samper did not get going. And look at the speeds, 253 miles an hour, 254, 255 going into turn 1. They are flying around this racetrack. Top 4 are single file now. It's Mongold behind Stephen Pollard III, Zach Buchanan, Charles Samper together, and then you got Cole Daly working with Dylan Young. Things a little spread out there. They're almost going 250 miles per hour, and somebody backed out there. It might have been Samper. Someone backed out and killed the momentum of the entire inside line, and that's why this thing's so spread out right now. Now Zach Buchanan going underneath Charles Samper, as Austin Mongold is trying to pick up the slipstream off of Stephen Pollard III. Right now enjoys a 2-car length advantage, which isn't normally a good thing, but look at the way that these cars are spread out here. NNSCRA took the restrictor plate off of these cars to let them get more speed, and apparently it's causing a difficulty for them to get some suck up here. And the yellow flag is out for the first time today. Caution is waving here on lap number 3, and Mongold did get around Stephen Pollard III. So new leader, the 60, the rookie out of Mongold Motorsports, under our first caution of the day, or the night I should say. That was a very peculiar start. Things got single file awfully quickly. But the yellow flag is out. The one good thing that we do know is that apparently we are going to have some passing for the lead go on. That's what I was worried about. I'm like, are they going to go single file in this whole race and there's not going to be any battling for the lead? But Mongold did make the move on Pollard and took the top spot. Smoke there in turn number 3. Oh, and Seth Cole was involved, along with Charles Jackson, who took that wild barrel roll last week at Pocono. Chris Washer, who had a great run last week, he's involved, along with Chris Dollerton, Pichu London, Levi McIntyre involved as well. There's rear end damage to the Coca-Cola Ford of Lyndon Wright. And trying to see who else might have been involved. I don't see anybody else. But the leaders are coming to pit road. So let's see what they're going to do here. I would have to think maybe with the higher speeds, the tire wear is going to be more of a concern for these drivers. So that might be why they're coming down pit road as early as they are, just in case this thing may go into a long green flag run. Going around right side tires for Austin Mongold. Let's see if they go around due lefts. No, just 2 right side tires and filling full of fuel. Mongold is down and away. Samper comes out second. Then it's Buchanan, Daly, and Dylan Young. Stephen Pollard III losing a lot of spots. He might have opted for 4 tires. Mongold first on, first off of pit road. He'll be the leader under this restart. Let's take a look and see what brought the caution flag out, though. There were a number of drivers pretty heavily damaged on pit road. We might have had a pretty big wreck. I'll tell you what, things were super congested back here. Somewhere just outside the top 30. Drivers jostling for position. And watch right here. Lyndon Wright comes up the track. I think Michael Norman thought Lyndon didn't know he was there. He then moves up. And he's going to get Chris Washer, I think. No? Oh, someone was spinning further up. And then these guys come plowing in. Oh, okay, wait a minute. Who was that? Oh, Levi McIntyre. Well, there you see the end result. Joshua Collard gets a piece of it. So too does Danny Wells. There's Seth Cole getting into Danny again. So it was actually Levi McIntyre that it started with. Oh my word! I think that was him and Pichu London. Let's see what happens here. It's two AAA cars side by side. That's the 15 of Walsh, the 22 of London. Oh, and boy, McIntyre, I think he thought he was clear and he wasn't. And oh my goodness, look at Pichu London. Oh my goodness, but for the second straight week, a car goes flying up into the air. Oh my goodness, that's the risk of no restrictor plates. And Levi's going to come back down into traffic. There is Washer, there is Jackson, there is Dollarton. Seth Cole, Danny Wells, Joshua Collard. Dylan Poteet just barely getting through that. That was a nice avoidance by him. And look at the smoke. Oh my goodness, but I can't believe the air that 22 car got. For the second straight week. If you guys remember back last week to Pocono, it was Sean Galligan who went up in the air. I think Pichu London went further up in the air than Sean Galligan did. Look at this. This is above the catch fence. Well above it. Oh my god. It's a wonder that car didn't go flipping outside the race. It did. That car was outside the racetrack for a brief moment. And then back down the banking. Oh my goodness. Tell you what. That was even scarier looking wreck than Sean Galligan had last week at Pocono. And Galligan's was scary. My goodness. There's Washer. Wrecked. Had a top 5 last week. Joshua Collard trying to fight to take the points lead back. Getting some damage from it. There's Danny Wells and Seth Cole spinning. Charles Jackson, man, it's just not been his season. Was involved in an early wreck at Pocono. Involved in an early wreck here at Talladega. And Michael Norman, don't know how significant the damage might be on his machine, as he did get a piece of it as well. We're under caution for the first time here tonight. The no restrictor plates bringing out big factors into just how violent these wrecks are. And Pichu London's little escapade into the air, that certainly proves it. We're under yellow. Let's go back to green. But that was one scary wreck. Pace car peels off. We're ready to go back to green. It's Austin Mongold, Charles Sanford, Zach Buchanan, Cole Daly, and Dylan Young, the top 5. James Qualls, Kyle Matthews, Richard Johnson, William Duncan, and Sean Henley, looking for his 3rd straight top 10 finish, completes the top 10. Green flag back out. We're back underway here at Talladega. Things starting to get a little bit more racy up at the front than they were earlier on. Mongold was able to get away, but Zach Buchanan tucked up the back bumper of Charles Sanford. Those two are going to go to work on trying to run down the rookie. Also forgot to mention Austin Mongold, because of this, he gets a bonus point for leading a lap. So this is going to help him in his battle for Rookie of the Year honors against DJ Curtis. Drivers out of the race after that incident. Amazingly enough, only 6. Pichu London, Levi McIntyre, Chris Washer, Charles Jackson, Chris Dollarton, and Seth Cole. So Seth Cole came into this race 8th in the point standings. He lost 4 spots last week at Pocono. He's going to lose even more here tonight as well. There's some contact back there between Kyle Matthews and Dylan Young. Dylan Young did not want to let him in, and Kyle Matthews was not going to be denied. It's been a bit of a downhill slump for Kyle Matthews as well. He was up in the top 5 in the point standings earlier on this season. Now he finds himself 12th in the points, so trying to bounce back. Dylan Young, who had a solid outing last week at Pocono. He 32nd in points, so he's really trying to work his way up here. And there's William Duncan. Oh, Matthews just got turned by Dylan Young. Apparently, Dylan Young did not appreciate the block that Kyle Matthews put on him, and he just flat out turned him. Kyle Matthews into the wall. Dylan Young heavily damaged. Caution flag is out again. That one almost looked intentional. Oy. Austin Mongol leads under our second caution of the day. He had a drafting partner in Zach Buchanan working with him. 2-car incident. Everybody else, I think, was able to scatter and avoid that. But there may be some big-time tempers flaring after that one. Kyle Matthews and Dylan Young, the reason for this one. Let's take a look at a replay of what just happened. Both drivers were running up inside the top 10 at the time. Alright, now every race, every wreck usually has a cause and effect. We're going to look here at what I believe was the cause. Right here, this was a battle between Dylan Young and Kyle Matthews. Dylan Young gets a run on the high side here, and watch the block that Kyle Matthews puts on him. Right here, going to move him up the track right there, makes contact with him. Now, I think right there, that's what got Dylan Young teed off at the 24. Kyle Matthews protecting his territory, almost wrecks Dylan Young. So, one lap later, Dylan Young going to try it again. And Kyle Matthews, I think, tried to put the same move on him. Tried to move up ahead of him, and Dylan Young said, not this time. I'm not backing out. And just hooks the 24 up into the wall. Hard impact. Look at the car up and up on the safer barrier. But Dylan Young, as a result, ends up taking himself out as well. Boy. Everybody scatters to the inside line in order to avoid, and everybody did get through it. Block me once, I'll let you go. Block me twice, you're getting wrecked, apparently the policy Dylan Young follows. And right there was a prime example of it. But both the drivers now going to suffer dearly in the standings. As I mentioned, Kyle Matthews on a slump. 12th in the point standings coming into this race. And Dylan Young in danger of falling outside the top 35. 32nd in points. And now both of them are going to be DNFing, as we only have 6 drivers out of the race. And they're going to finish very poorly in tonight's event as a result of what we just saw. So apparently tempers flaring here, and as a result we got 2 drivers with mighty wrecked race cars. Lights are out atop the pace car. We're about ready to go back to green. This time it'll be on lap 15 of 30, and we'll be at the halfway point of this race. Drivers took the opportunity under this, our second yellow, to come down pit road. The biggest loser on pit road was Zach Buchanan. Fell from 2nd all the way back to 9th, but Austin Mongold's team fast enough to keep him out in front for this restart. Mongold in line to maybe lead the most laps here tonight as well. Maybe pick up a bonus point in that fashion. Second place will be James Qualls. Richard Johnson is now 3rd. Cole Daly 4th. 5th place William Duncan. Sean Henley in 6th. Tim Walsh is in 7th. Jacob Lawler 8th. 9th is Zach Buchanan. And Joshua Michaels completes the top 10. You know, I mentioned that Talladega, Daytona, those street plate tracks, they always cater to the underdog. We got a lot of drivers up here that are either struggling in the point standings or rookies here that might be one that Talladega might look at and say, I think I want to help that driver out to win this race. One of them would be the pole sitter and the current, or not the pole sitter, but the outside pole sitter, I should say, and the current leader, Austin Mongold. How about James Qualls there in 2nd? Qualls comes into this race outside the top 35 in points. So too does Richard Johnson in 3rd. Then another driver back there as well, Jacob Lawler in the 5. 19th in the standings, defending, or a former Snickers Cup Series champion, looking for a victory here, his first win of the season. And then Sean Henley's been on a good streak as of late, but he's mired all the way down in 33rd in the point standings. Let's see what's going to happen here. Green flag about to come back out here on lap 15 of 30. James Qualls wasting no time, looking to the bottom. Can he get some help? Cole Daly is down there with him, along with William Duncan and Sean Henley, so he's got some friends. And James Qualls looks like he's going to go to the lead, but the outside line's starting to form up now. Austin Mongold has Richard Johnson and Sean Henley with him. As Henley switches lanes, now Walsh jumps up high. Jacob Lawler moves low. Zach Buchanan moves low. And the inside lines, the line is going to move. James Qualls will clear. No, he won't. Mongold battling back on the high side. And he slingshots around back to the lead, and the caution flag is back out for the third time tonight. Boy, Mongold got a huge push from Richard Johnson out of turn 4. Used that momentum to go to lead, and Richard Johnson actually followed him through to second place. The yellow flag is out again. I'm assuming it's somewhere in turns 3 and 4, maybe out of 4. Because there are no smoke clouds over in turns 1 and 2. Nothing on the back straightaway. Let's see if maybe there's something. Yeah, right there in turn 3. So the caution flag is out for the third time here tonight, and it looks like maybe again another 2-car incident. Let's take a look and see what happened. Austin Mongold continues to lead the way here tonight at Talladega. Well, a lot of the wrecks here tonight have not exactly been what you'd call points shaker wrecks, but I think this one certainly is. Look at Dougie Shears. He thought about going 4 wide between Brandon Gonzalez, Jessica Shelton, and Johnny Gardner. And, oh man, then he gets into Gonzalez, up and into Charles Samper, who had nowhere to go. And then right there you see Trent Dunham got clipped in the right rear. He's going to pound the outside wall really hard. And just to put it into perspective, that's the points leader, Trent Dunham. 11th in the standings, Brandon Gonzalez. 4th in the standings, Dougie Shears. And 9th in the points, Charles Samper. All involved in this one. So many tracks here this season have almost in a sense had a life of their own and targeted the drivers doing well in points. And there's a prime example. The points leader, Trent Dunham, trying to go for the restrictor plate sweep so far. Go 2 for 2. He had luck at Daytona, but no luck here tonight at Talladega. Just barely got clipped into that incident as well. There's last week's winner, Brandon Gonzalez, all torn up. Our winner from Bristol, Dougie Shears, and Charles Samper, who's just trying to find victory lane again. He's been on a drop as of late in the standings and going to continue to drop here tonight as 4 cars, 4 drivers running inside the top 11 in points involved in this, our third caution of the evening. So we'll get ready to go back to green one more time. This time it'll be with 11 laps to go, as the green flag will come out on lap 20. Austin Mongold has been able to do pretty well of figuring out which lines move the best here at Talladega as he continues to lead. He's got Richard Johnson, his drafting buddy from the last run, right behind him in second. Qualls in third, Henley fourth, Dowley fifth, and it's Walsh, Michaels, Duncan, Lawler, and Ryan Acosta now has cracked the top 10. Drivers out of the race so far in this event include Charles Samper, Brandon Gonzalez, Trent Dunham, Dougie Shears, Dylan Young, Kyle Matthews, Pichu London, Levi McIntyre, Chris Washer, Charles Jackson, Chris Dollerton, and Seth Cole. All of them out due to 3 wrecks, 3 cautions that we had during the course of this race so far in 20 laps. Green flag back out here on lap 20. Richard Johnson going to try the high side here on Austin Mongold in turn number 1. Got some friends up there. Henley, Walsh, they jumped up. But James Qualls, Cold Alley decided to stay down low. Austin Mongold going to try and move up, block the advances of any move the high line might make. Here comes James Qualls with a run, help from Cold Alley. Well, he peeked down low. Now Mongold moves down to block. Richard Johnson's lost his drafting help. Now he'll tuck behind James Qualls. Now steps out of line again, trying to get somebody to help him on that outside line, but I think everybody's too far back, because now here comes James Qualls looking low. Not going to be able to make the move. He's side by side for second with Richard Johnson. Actually quite surprised at tonight's racing. Took the restrictor plate off for these drivers, did NNSCRA, and these guys have done some good racing, but there has been quite a bit of wrecking it up as well. Ran 20 laps and 3 cautions. I was expecting more of green flag runs to go on, but not the case here. Austin Mongold leading the way here. One thing that's also seeming to be a factor is with no restrictor plate, it's seeming like drafting is not as much of an issue for these drivers. Like it's not even there, not even a factor. As I say that, though, James Qualls, Richard Johnson get a nice run on Austin Mongold there in 1 and 2. But it's not nearly as significant, let's put it that way, as it seems to have been in past races here at Dega. Maybe NNSCRA will look into maybe removing the stipulation that they will let them race without a restrictor plate at the next time we come here to Dega in our 9th chase race. Top 6, single file right now, and all of them, with the exception of Tim Walsh, have not been to victory lane yet this season. You got Mongold, Qualls, Johnson, Cole Daly, Jacob Lawler, and Sean Henley, who seems to have now just lost this group. Top 3 now, single file, as Walsh lost a little ground there. Lawler got kicked to the high side, now about to lose a spot to his teammate Cole Daly. Johnson, Adino, Austin, the Plant working together back there. They are in, I believe that is 8th and 9th, trying to catch up to these guys. Longest green flag run we've had so far today, I believe. Look at Tim Walsh trying to get a run on the high side there of Richard Johnson. That's for 3rd. Tim Walsh would love a victory here at Talladega to solidify himself a spot in the chase, become a 2-time winner this season like Dylan Poteet. They are battling for 2nd behind Austin Mongold, who's just been dominating this race. Not to say he hasn't had any challenges, but it seems like any challenges he gets, he either is able to turn them back or he gets a drafting partner at just the right time to be able to move his way past. And Johnson, Adino, Austin, the Plane have been able to work together. They have now caught up to the top 7. Citadino, 5th in the point standings. He's been working his way up through the points week after week, but looking for his first win of the season. 2-time Snickers Cup Series champion, and then he got a former Mobile Cup Series champion, Austin the Plant, former winner of the season at Phoenix, looking for his 2nd win of the season to lock himself up a spot in this season's chase. Well, Richard Johnson going to get around to the high side of James Qualls, tuck in line in 2nd, and now we'll rely on James Qualls to push him up towards the back bumper of the Air Force number 64. As these drivers continue to battle for 2nd, time is running out and laps are ticking away. Single file still there amongst pretty much the top 10. Mongold with a huge advantage right now, about 3 car lengths. Not sure why I switched to a helicopter view. I hit the wrong button, apparently. Richard Johnson, 0.3 of a second back, but that can be made up easily here at a restricted plate track. Qualls there in 3rd, Walsh in 4th, Lawler 5th. He got his teammate behind him in the 6th position, so Hendrick Dowley Motorsports might be able to do something. Both the 5 and the 88 look for their first wins of the season. Boy, James Qualls trying as hard as he can to push the Charter Chevrolet of Richard Johnson up there to Austin Mongold, but they don't appear to be making very much progress. Tim Walsh trying to catch the slipstream off the back of the Ford Travel Chevrolet, and now James Qualls says, I've had enough of this. He's going to try and go to the high side of Richard Johnson. Cool the engine off a little bit there, and now he'll go back in line, and that allowed Tim Walsh to draft up to the back bumper. Now those 3 are going to be battling, and I think Jacob Lawler's going to get moving there as well. Lawler's caught onto the tail end of this pack, and now James Qualls says, okay, enough of this. Going to the inside line. Is he going to have any help? No, he's not. He actually seemed to slip up a little bit there, and Tim Walsh gets around him on the high side. Tim Walsh had the draft of Richard Johnson. Qualls did not. That just killed his momentum. And look at Johnson Adino working with Cole Daly on the high side. They're coming to the front now. Cole Daly with no friends. Or make that James Qualls with no friends. Now Citadino gets around. That's for the 4th position. Daly moves to 5th. All this going on behind Austin Mongold. If we were having a battle for 2nd, being the battle for the win, it'd be a great battle, but nobody has been able to do anything with Austin Mongold. All this has been going on from 2nd on back. Oh, look at Richard Johnson. Oh, wait a minute. Is Mongold pitting? No, he's not pitting, but Richard Johnson just got around him. I think Mongold's got a problem. Mongold was extremely slow there. The car did not slow down, but he was slow out of 4. Richard Johnson has gotten around for the lead. I don't think that had anything to do with a draft. I think that Mongold just was slow. Something, he might have lost battery power for a second or something, because that car just was drastically slow through 3, but now Richard Johnson's the leader. For the first time tonight, we got a new leader of this race, and it's with 2 to go. White flag this time, and he's got Tim Walsh right behind him. John Cittadino, Cold Alley, Sean Henley trying to catch up as Mongold finally has gotten the car back up to speed. Tucked in the 6th position, but he may have lost this race. White flag displayed one more time around. Cittadino to the inside for 2nd. Walsh going to cut off Cold Alley. He'll keep 3rd. Dowley there in 4th. Henley in 5th. Mongold, time might have run out for him to be able to try and battle back. And now Richard Johnson with a huge lead. About maybe 4 car lengths between himself and John Cittadino. Can Cittadino close it up here in 3 and 4? He's got nobody back behind him to draft. We've said before, Dega caters to the underdog. Well, Richard Johnson comes into this race outside the top 35 in points, but check mark a win off his wish list. He's going to take the checkered flag here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. So task number 1 is done for Richard Johnson, and that's fine victory lane now. That 47 team for the rest of the season, their goal is just to try and get good enough finishes to make their way inside the top 30 in points to make themselves eligible for a spot in this season's chase for the championship. But still questioning what happened there to Austin Mongold. The only thing I can think of is that maybe, just maybe, he lost battery power or something and had to switch batteries while running there on track. But it cost him, and Richard Johnson got around him and took the lead and the victory from him here tonight. Richard Johnson officially came into this race 39th in the point standings, so definitely a well-needed run for him here tonight. A great victory for that 47 team. John Cittadino continues his run of good finishes. He's going to finish 2nd here tonight. That team's not far away from getting a victory, I can tell you. Tim Walsh, great run for him in the 3rd position. That team's been struggling as of late after his win at Atlanta. He is 21st in the point standings coming to tonight's race. This will move him up. Cold Alley, great run for him in the 88. Gets a 4th position finish. Dowley came into this race, I believe, outside the top 35 in points, and so this is a great run for him. Sean Henley, his streak of top 10 finishes continues. He's now grown it to 3, as he not only gets a top 10, gets a top 5 here tonight in 5th place. Austin Mongold, that's a heartbreak for him. Almost went to victory lane in this thing, but had some kind of problems with 2 to go. He'll finish the day out in 6th place, though. 7th place, how about Austin the Plant? We talked about him starting to work his way up into the lead pack, and our winner from Phoenix is going to get 7th here tonight, so a great run for him. This will keep him in the top 10 in points. James Qualls, he was up there battling at the front for most of this race, and he'll come away with a solid run of 8th place. That's another driver that comes into this race outside the top 35 in points. Jacob Lawler, he's going to finish in 9th here tonight, so 2 of the Hendrick Dowley Motorsports cars having good runs. And William Duncan, never talked about the 83 Dodge all night long, but the only Dodge in the field, going to come away with the 10th position here tonight. So a great run for William Duncan and that 83 team out of Team Thunder. So Richard Johnson is now, quotes, in the chase for the championship if he can get that number 47 up inside the top 30 in points. And we have in our 9th race our 8th different race winner. We've only had 1 repeat winner so far this season, and that is Dylan Poteet. So thank you all so much for watching tonight's race here from Talladega Superspeedway. If you enjoyed tonight's race, be sure to give us a video, like, subscribe, and become part of the crew today. We'll now show you your full finishing results, your rookie points, and your overall points heading into next week. Want to remind you guys that after race 13, it's All-Star race weekend, so we're getting very close to the midway point of the regular season, and then we'll be having All-Star race weekend with all of these drivers at a track that I haven't decided where we're going to yet. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I think that more than likely when we go to Talladega for chase race number 9, the restrictor plate tracks will be put back on. It was some good racing that went on, no doubt about that, but it was a lot of single file and more like a speedway race, a high-speed speedway race than a restrictor plate race. It was still a good race, but I don't think that we're going to be doing that again when we come back here to Talladega Superspeedway. And of course, NNSCRA will probably be taking it into consideration of no restrictor plate tracks, restrictor plates at the other restrictor plate tracks we go to as well. Maybe not doing it at those tracks either. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time as you've been watching Production NNSCRA. Offline racing as best, Richard Johnson taking the checkered flags here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. We'll see you next week. I was attacked by the mafia and a serial killer, and I was haunted by the jester. I died!
Oh,
What?
Whoa!
What?
The arson. The arson.
Whoa!
Stop it, a whammy! A big whammy!
An arsonist! The arsonist won!
Motion lick your tears. This is good. He doesn't know you. Where you going? Can I leave now?